confidential?
Most of the time.
Okay, we're recording. Okay, today is the December 13th Policy Subcommittee meeting. We'll start with attendance. We'll go around the room, say who's here. Somebody can just keep an ear out for Erin because I know she'll be here momentarily. Rob, we'll start with you.
Sure. Rob Mezzanotte, Assistant Superintendent.
Andrew Hennius, Attorney for the committee.
Kenny Duba, Superintendent.
Jennifer Lima, School Committee member.
Rachel Santa, Director of People Personnel.
Okay, awesome. I'm just going to pull up the agenda because I did not pull up the right document. And it does not look like there is anybody here for citizens' comments. Did everybody, I apologize for just sending the agenda out today. Did everybody have an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Just for clarification, the voting members of the committee are myself, Dr. Duba, Dr. Earl, and Rob Mezzanotte, but we do have a quorum, so we can go ahead and we can approve those. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 policies on the agenda tonight. We do have a hard stop at 6:30. Ken, do you have a preference for which ones?
I would say I know we updated the chemical drug policy and the teen dating violence policy.
Yep.
Both are redlined and ready
Yep.
to be reviewed.
Do you have a preference which one we go through?
I think the chemical drug one is shorter. So we'll
Okay.
start with that.
I don't know if Rachel had a,
I've read through it, but I'm looking for it.
just if she had to leave, if we wanted
Do you
to
have-
do the.
Preference?
No.
Okay.
No,
All
I
right,
plan
so-
to stay.
All right, so we'll do the JICH. Okay. Okay,
Shared
so,
drive, maybe.
and I think where we left that the last time was, Rob, you were gonna take and you were
Yeah.
gonna start clean, right?
Yep. So if it's okay, I'll.
Please.
Okay. So I did include it in here as like we talked about last time. We basically wanted to start with like a clean document. So
Yep.
I basically just kind of went back to the beginning, and my approach here was to try to sort of incorporate the elements of both the two documents from before, which included like the protocols, into one. So I know we had a lot of discussion last time around when it came to the drug and alcohol use policy, making sure that we didn't have like redundancy when it came to policy for all students and then policy for student athletes or members of extracurricular activities. So what I'm not going to take everyone through the entire thing, but what I tried to do in terms of formatting it was just sort of create a part 1 and a part 2. And a part 1 is specific to all students while at school or at school-sponsored events. Okay, so the language that comes out of there, again, is taken from the original policy. I tried to streamline it a little bit so it wasn't redundant, but it's from that original policy, but it articulates that it's specific to kids who are at school or school-sponsored events. And so you can walk through kind of what I tried to lay it out there as, which was similar to how it was before. The second part has to do with students who are student athletes or members of extracurricular activity programs. And for this section, this is what we talked about before. It basically takes the first part, applies the same rules to them, but then also articulates like the additional requirements that are expected of them, and that includes things that are outside of the school day, outside of school-sponsored activities. Okay, so what we tried to do there is talk about the need for, first of all, communication, documentation, so that we know that parents and guardians are aware of the requirements that are different for student athletes and extracurricular participants, and then we also tried to again just articulate the expectation that students in these positions are privileged to be in them, and that there's a higher level of expectation placed upon them as a result. So we outlined a first violation, consequence, a second violation, so on and so forth. We try to, just clarify, we separated, if you will, violations for use, possession of alcohol and controlled substances. We also kind of separate out possession or use of things like cigarettes, vaping products, things like that. Again, that was in line with what had been there before. One thing I know that I tried to clean up a little bit, because this can be, I think the policy was written before the widespread use of, picture manipulation and things of that nature, which is much more of a prevalent thing now. So I tried to clean up the image by not being so black and white in terms of if an image exists, then you're automatically,
Right.
guilty. Like, it's like I tried to put it as it'll be investigated, which is pretty common sense, Anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions.
No, I thought this was good. I like the way that you broke it out between like everybody and then the additional penalties for extracurricular or athletics. I had a couple questions which I saw that you resolved, so I appreciate that.
Yep.
The one other question that I did have, and where did I highlight it? Or maybe you highlighted it, I don't know. Under the
This is
instructional,
health.
yeah, the instructional
Oh, yes.
program, the health.
Yeah, did I do that? might
I
have.
can't remember if you did it or if I did it, but
I may have.
it was flagged.
What page, Jen?
It's on
It's on
page
sheet
3.
3.
3, sorry.
Under
So that
capital
would be
A.
part of the health curriculum. though.
Okay.
So,
So can we just say health education program?
Yeah, so that
Right.
was just, and like I said, I don't know if you had it highlighted or if I had highlighted it.
I may have done that.
Okay.
I think that was me. My apologies. So it's going to be health education programs, yeah.
And we changed the counselors, like we talked about, from guidance counselors to school counselors. That change
Yep.
that we had talked about was done.
Yep. So yeah, I think what I tried to do is I tried to make sure we capture the spirit of what the policy was, and we're not like making any broad changes to it, but just make it a little more streamlined and a little more, I think, linear in terms of how we read it.
And with this, the intent would be to sunset JICHR, correct? Because
Yes.
everything would be contained in this one.
Correct.
I don't know how you police Roman numeral 5,
Where are we now? Part one
presence
of
at
the-
parties with alcohol and drugs. It's at the very, very end, page 8.
Yep, so that was language that came from the original policy. And I think, I agree with you. I think
I don't
that,
get that one.
I think that we had that as more of a, more of like advisory type language as opposed to, because it kind of goes with the next one, which is the cyber
Yeah.
images. You know what I mean? So I think like
Yeah.
if you look at student attends a party or event where alcohol and drugs are being illegally dispensed,
Yeah.
it just says the student must leave the party immediately or risk being in violation. It says or risk being in violation of the policy. I understand. I hear what you're saying. Like it's outside
How's
of
it
our.
enforceable?
Well, it's enforceable if we get documented evidence that they were there, which is through an image.
we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
that-
Okay.
No, I had the same
because
thought
it was the
process,
same
yeah.
thing of.
It's kind of weird.
you know,
So they're at a
how do we
party, that's to me,
monitor
how do you monitor
and make sure
that?
Because we want to make sure we're putting policies in place that actually can be
Enforceable.
enforced,
I
right?
think-
And so we had talked about student athletes having a higher level of
They're ambassadors.
responsibilities and roles in a school district, and that if they're out at a party and they're drinking and they shouldn't be drinking, and there's pictures of that drinking or something that comes back to us that they did that and there's evidence that they did, then there would be consequences for that, specifically towards them being on the team, if they're a captain, so.
I know the messaging that had been sent previously is that like if you're an athlete and you go somewhere where they're illegally serving alcohol or doing drugs, you're putting yourself at risk because you're in the presence of this, and as an athlete, the expectation is that
And
you
then if there's
would.
pictures taken of you, then distributed at school, then you're, I get it now,
Correct.
I
okay.
mean, my concern,
Yeah,
as long
we-
as it
sorry, I
says
didn't
at risk of
mean-
being
No, no, it's
violated,
fine.
again, that
Yeah,
goes to
it
your
was a
intention.
Right, right.
Yeah, and I think I like the way that we had changed it to be what we talked about the last meeting about the intent and the purpose is that for all students, they should be refraining.
To think about
Yeah.
that.
But there, there is no teeth, for lack of a better term, to enforce outside of school consequences for anybody but students who are participating in additional
Correct.
activities. But there is the ability to do that for those students. Has this been reviewed with the AD and with the administrators?
Yes.
Okay.
I do, to that point, Jen, I do totally understand why athletes are called out, and that, I heard you last time, Rob, talk about how it's like a right, not, no, a privilege,
Privilege,
not a
yeah.
right, whatever, yeah.
Mhm.
I would add though, like, I do think that it's important to like think about, or like maybe we want to consider like those extracurriculars, right? So like, why would we differentiate? And I know they're role models and whatnot, but like, so are the leads in the play, like so are the whatever. And so like, is it something that we want to call out athletes, or do we want to call out like any student that's involved in like a public facing?
So that's what we
Thing.
did. So if-
Masters of Sport.
Yeah,
If
you know,
you-
like it's
I
a
think
little
it is that
broader
way.
than that, in my opinion. Like
So-
you wouldn't.
Yeah, it's in here, extra.
Anytime they
Yeah.
are represented.
But I
I
wasn't
did
sure if
include
it was-
extracurricular activity participants, is how I phrased it up. I would,
But
I
that
would be,
header doesn't say that though, does it?
No, it
Under
just says
part
presence
two.
at parties with alcohol and
Student
drugs,
athletes, extracurricular participants.
but it's up for.
Hold on, there was one spot I thought it was still just.
Expectations for student athletes and extracurricular activity participants.
No, so maybe you caught them all, and my apologies.
all right.
Yeah, I thought there was one
That
that
makes
just
sense
still
to me.
called out, but that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah,
Do
because
we
I would agree
wanna-
with you, Aaron. I would think
Yeah.
that a student performing the school play, which is like obviously a huge event,
Yeah.
that's, that would,
Or all state band and choir.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or, yeah,
There's
yeah,
some
or
wild
traveling
things that
bands on a
happen at
traveling
those
trip,
events.
something
Yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do we want to
That's a good one.
call out like why that is? Like, we know why, right? And so
Mhm.
like, I'm just trying to think of like do you want, like, kind of going back to that philosophy concept or something, like, do we want a sentence in there that,
So I tried to do that. What I, let me see
in
here.
a different part of the doc? maybe?
I tried to kind of
Mhm.
put it in there. Let me see where I can find it.
Yeah, it's right under part 2 on page 6, like bottom of page 5.
It says the
top
reason
of
for
page
this is
6.
that the participation in athletics as well as other extra activities is a privilege, and these
Yeah.
students are expected to meet expectations that are higher in order to earn that earn the
That's,
privilege.
that's how I shaped it up.
I would probably just change it to, and I know this is like a little wordsmithy, but just change it to participation in athletics and other extracurricular activities, because the way that it's still written, it is saying like, athletes, oh, and those extracurriculars, instead of just saying like it as cleanly. I don't know, it might be just me reading into it, but
Where in that?
on the top of page 5, it says, the reason for this is that participation in athletics as well as other extracurricular activities. Like, I would just have it say, like,
And
this is
extracurricular.
because of participation in athletics and extracurricular activities is a privilege. Like, it just like, I know it's so tiny, but like it kind of makes
Mhm.
them equal footing instead of athletes and others. Kind
So
of
instead
a-
of as well as and.
yeah, I would just make it really tight. Just
Okay.
and up and extracurricular activities, or like other makes it seem like,
Yeah.
or extracurricular activities including athletics, like, because isn't athletics an extracurricular activity?
It is.
Yeah, athletics and other, because you just said and other. Isn't that what you just said?
I said,
It's-
yeah, I was saying like flip it and say the reason for this is participation in extracurricular activities including athletics is a privilege. Like, like if you still want to call out athletics, I think that's fine, but like
Mm-hmm.
in theory, it's redundant.
Yeah.
all changing it to athletics.
We're all- All right,
I'm out.
we're all reading the paper at the
Yeah.
same time.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Okay, would anybody have anything else? Because we can make these changes after, just switch that wording around.
Mhm.
Other than that, are we good to go on this one?
Looks good to
That's
me.
nice.
Erin?
Nice job.
Mhm. Okay.
Good job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Rob.
Thank you, yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a recommendation to move this
This is
forward
forever
to
to
the
do.
school committee.
They
Make a
take
second?
forever to do.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of moving this forward to the school committee?
Aye.
Aye, okay, awesome. So with those changes that we just discussed. So the next one is the JBA prohibition against teen dating violence. And I think Ken, you had put together a,
Yes, this one, it's a copy of GBA Teen Dating Violence 2012 working version.
great, do you want to walk us through that? And I had some questions, so as you walk through that, I'm gonna do my questions if you don't mind.
So we wanted to make sure that this was changed. We had some language changes as well as reference to the laws. We wanted to make sure that there was statements in here regarding teen dating violence. So we reviewed that. Anything in red is what was added. So the first paragraph has additions of the law for Rhode Island General Law, RIGL 162130. And then the last statement says provide, this was because we're going to sunset JBAR, so the regulations administered, that's all in here. So that first paragraph at the end now reads, provide direction responding to incidents and prevent new incidents of dating and sexual violence. Please note that any alleged violations of this policy should also be reviewed under district policy ACB, which is the non-discrimination and anti-harassment. So we want to make sure there's a connection to that policy as well. And it's referenced throughout this revised policy to refer to ACB. No change around philosophy. Policy statement, there's a highlight, and it might be a question. I don't know who highlighted that, but it's highlighted in that paragraph because it references back to Rhode Island General Law 1671, which is about student performance and academics, and your district strategic plan and your safety plan both have to reference prevention around teen dating violence and sexual violence. So we need to go back into our district plan, and I went back looking at that law, and there was a lot of other things in there that connects back to your district plan, but also the school safety plan. So like our safety plans need to have a connection. So
Yeah,
I
think
don't
that
know
was
if
being
I you highlighted it.
I think we
but-
need to assign everybody a highlight color.
Yeah.
That way
So if
we
you go
know.
back to version history,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a pain.
I was like, I can teach
And I
you.
did that, but that was a little bit of pain going back and forth and tracking it.
I
but
think
it
that
either
was
you or
me. I think I just wanted to
So-
make sure that if the statute says it, that we're doing it. I
Yes,
think that
and
was
so
my
we just need to
question.
go
Yep.
back and just look at
Okay.
that. It was interesting once I started reading that law because there's a lot in there that's very specific with what you have to have in a strategic
Mm.
plan that
Needs to be checked on.
needs to be checked.
Yes.
Basically, almost like that law writes your strategic plan. Okay. So then we have all the definitions. Definitions were changed to make sure that they are referenced back to the general law, and any of the definitions that we had question of, and made sure that they were aligned to the general law.
So here's my question, and here's where they start. So
Mhm.
we had talked at the last meeting about pulling out anything that didn't specifically relate to the dating
Mhm.
violence. So bullying should come out because that's not in the
Law.
law. Sexual assault,
So the cyberbullying.
cyberbullying, dating, perpetrator, sexual
Mhm.
harassment, sexual violence, stalking, rape, witness, like there's several that we still have in here. The only ones that are in the statute are at school, dating violence, and dating partner. There's only 3 definitions in the actual dating violence statute, because we talked about like pulling out anything and just having this bare bones be related to that.
Right.
So if
So
that's.
keep that one, my color's orange. What were the 3 you said?
Dating violence,
At school,
Yep.
dating violence,
dating partner.
and dating partner. But the definition that's in here currently is not the definition in the RIGL statute.
And so we're fixing that.
So that has
I
to
thought I
be.
changed that one.
Well, it looks like you're referencing General Law 1622-24, but that's not the dating statute. Like, that's not the dating violence statute, and it doesn't tie to the definition that's in the.
Which one what's the number that, 162224?
The dating violence
the-
statute is 1621-30.
Okay, because then 162224 is the dating violence education, that one's connected to,
Right. That's the dating violence education.
because that's the curriculum
and
one.
has at-school dating partner, dating violence.
What's the other one, Jen?
Well, right, because the policy is
1621-30.
established from General Law 1621-30.
Are they different though? Because that's a whole different problem.
That's a whole different problem.
Yep. So,
What was the other one, 1622?
162224. Because this is, that one, the 24 one's about the curriculum, right?
Right, and 2130 is about the policies.
Mm-hmm.
They still carry the same 3 definitions, though, it looks like, right?
It
But I think
is
she said the
same.
definitions are different, they're defined
Let's see.
different.
Shocking.
Which one did you think was different, Jen?
16, dating partner.
Oh, dating partner.
And that's 21, what's the other statute?
No, they seem, I think they're the same.
Is it?
It might not be what we have in the document, but
Right, well, we have in our document, I didn't think tied to 1621-30. But it's been a long day. Because in 1621-30, it says dating partner means a person, regardless of gender, involved in an intimate relationship with another, primarily characterized by the expectation of affectionate involvement. And in this policy, it says,
hold on, I'm gonna copy and paste them so we can just see exactly.
Side by side.
Yeah, I can't, like with this.
Need to screen.
So that one is from,
I think we're just missing regardless of gender.
That's not in the
That's not in
22,
it, though.
24 definition,
Yeah.
correct?
Right, but it is in the 2130.
Yep.
so that's that one. Well, and this one, this policy specifically is 2130, right?
Correct.
So we should probably go with that one.
Right.
Which one was written first?
That's what I was just checking, this one, the 22,
2021.
24 was amended in 21.
They both were.
They still couldn't.
The
do
same
that.
day,
Still
the
couldn't-
same
still couldn't line
day.
up the definitions.
We can I'll write it down somewhere. Because I was gonna say we'd go with the newer one, but that's not. Yeah, they reference each other.
That's weird.
Because in the top of
Not so
22,
weird.
24, it says additionally students shall
I've
be
seen that
provided
before,
with the
too.
school dating violent policy as provided in 1621-30.
That's weird.
That's what, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to just copy and paste that language and fix it?
Yeah, I just think since this is tied to 2130, it should reference that. I mean, Andrew, what do you think?
That's fine.
So we'll just add any person regardless of gender.
Yep.
And then, so we're deleting all the other definitions, correct?
except my only question was, under reporting responsibilities, it does reference witness/bystander, so I didn't know if we wanted to keep a definition.
I thought, didn't we take out? Or did we?
We keep going round and round on this one.
So there was one we took out, 'cause remember deleting it?
Right, we took out
Back
bystander,
into
so
that.
That's what it was, yeah.
so maybe
History,
leave
but-
in witness only because it references witness in, like it talks
Yeah.
about witness, so if we leave witness so that people understand what a witness is, does that make sense? Even though it's not in the statute, we're referring to witness.
And I think it's, I think it's okay to have other definitions in there. I think it's, when we have policies, there's certain things you do want to define. So I'm not saying leave them all in there, but I'm just saying, like, even though witness isn't there, it's a word we're using, so we should
Yeah,
define.
That's
it
why
so
I'm saying
people
leave witness,
understand
but
it.
the other ones are not in this policy, so I don't know if it makes sense to have all those other definitions.
Like, we never say the word bullying ever.
And they went back and forth too, that's why we ended up adding the see also NKSD, policy
Right.
ACB, because we were trying to,
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I think I agree with both of you. I think if it's not directly talked about in this policy, it shouldn't be here.
Right.
And then we could put a reference in general, like about policy ACB for other, like if we want to reference them to a different
Yeah.
document for like more general things like bullying, cyber, we could like say it very clearly, like
Yeah.
go to this other policy, because people might stumble upon this one, but be
Yeah.
looking for that one, but I would not, like I said, like anytime there's multiple things in multiple places, it's bad.
Yeah.
So we should definitely delete that. Huh?
I say it all the time in special ed.
Yeah, like it just makes it too messy.
Don't be repetitive.
So sexual assault.
So why don't we delete them now in that way?
And then we can add
We're
them
not-
back in, yeah.
I'm just thinking that way it's
Yeah.
off this document, so we're taking
Yeah.
out
So
bullying,
take
sexual
out bullying, take out
We're
sexual
leaving
assault.
out dating violence,
I just checked sexual
Sexual
assault, that's nowhere
assaults.
else.
Take out cyberbullying.
but we're taking sexual assault out though,
Yeah.
right? Once we said that cyberbullying.
Yeah, I was saying I checked to see if it was referenced anywhere else in the doc.
Cyberbullying.
What about sexual harassment?
So-
Is that not referenced in here?
So perpetrator, which I'm pretty sure is not the right word anymore, but is in here a lot. So you just undelete that one for a sec. I would leave that one for now, and then we can
Okay.
come back and
And
see-
change
decide
it.
if we like it, the definition of it or not, or what word we're using, but that one, I think sexual harassment you're fine on. So you can delete that one. Do you want me to delete it for you?
Sure. If you're on it right now, you
Yeah.
can. I was just looking something else up.
Sexual violence is sexual assault, so we should do that. Stop and stop it. That is in there, so we're gonna leave that one.
Well, rape, but I don't
Yeah, that
think
one
it
is.
shows up. Does it show up?
Well, it's right above it. So that's the only other place it's referenced, but I don't know if we want to define it within that line. Like you could combine
Mhm.
those two, that's the only other place it's referred to.
I would just leave it there.
Can you look up the,
Which one?
like, I'm here. What the most, like, with the word, perpetrator, abuser, like that, what, like what? No, not
Like from
bystander.
ACB?
Yeah, like, for the person who is
Oh, I got you.
doing the
Yep,
thing.
yep, yep.
What
The
is that?
accused
What's,
is you-
yeah.
The
The
accused
accuser.
versus the accuser.
Yeah, like I don't think any of the words that are listed are the right word.
Perpetrator doesn't sound right.
There's
I think
perpetrator,
accuser.
abuser, or
Yeah.
dominant aggressor are the ones that
I'm
are
gonna
listed
go
right
with
now.
no on both.
Yeah, so I would like the right word, that'd be awesome. More updated word. if you will.
Accused.
I think the accused.
I think
the
it's
accuser.
accused.
Yeah.
I think we used that before too,
Yeah,
because it's not proven.
yeah, right, it's,
When you
those
say
words are,
perpetrator, then
those words are
feels
like,
proven.
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah, it says suspect, alleged
suspect, there you
perpetrator,
go.
accused.
Alleged perpetrator,
Accused.
yeah,
What's like
Yeah, it's the alleged
education-
perpetrator is
Yeah.
what's in here,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's take a look.
yeah.
I kind of like accused,
Yeah, that's my favorite too.
because you're accused of it, but doesn't mean you actually were the perpetrator of it.
Alleged perpetrator though, right?
Yeah, but it
Okay.
has the word perpetrator in there, it
Yeah, I
sounds,
guess.
judgy. Versus the fact that you just got accused of it, not that you're, feels more like a verb, perpetrator. Do you know what I mean, like, I don't know.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, it just feels more, Andrew knows what I mean.
Yeah, I like accused.
Yeah,
Pick accused.
a little more neutral.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I can't speak. I've had 10 meetings today. I'm done.
Okay,
Toasty.
yep.
They were kind of interesting ones though, I guess.
Mhm.
Not boring.
Alright, so we'll fix that, and then. Sorry. Respondent?
Which one are we? Which one?
Coming up with another word.
We were just looking at the definitions about what's removed and what not to remove, and then like what the word should be in theory.
Which one are we looking at though?
Are we still on perpetrator?
Yeah, we definitely need to narrow the scope of that. Like, it seems like Andrew's like Googling stuff.
Yeah, I'm Googling
but-
it. I'm not finding exactly what you're looking for, but I know, I keep
But
going
also,
back to
like-
the accused and the accuser, but that's, I'm
What have we
partial to
used
that.
in
I
other
think that's what we
policies?
should-
That's going back to the.
Does
Yeah,
that
what
make
we use in
sense?
ACB.
Because
I feel like whatever we use in other policies is what we should use here.
I'll tell you 2 seconds.
Yeah, we'll check ACB and see what it says.
I feel like there was another policy we worked on, it was accused and accuser. But, I might,
Do you remember which one?
It's gotta be an ACP,
Yep.
right?
it must be. It's something I read for sure.
Respondent is what's used in this one.
Mhm.
An individual has been reported to be the perpetrator of conduct that could constitute prohibited
That's what we use at
conduct.
URI. It's
Complainant
respondent,
and-
but complainant and respondent, but I didn't know, that's like, that, it's not the same though, that's why I wanted to,
Neutral too, though.
yeah, it's definitely,
Better than perpetrator.
That's what's in ACB.
I mean, almost anything would be, to be honest.
Quite frankly.
You got beat, Ted.
What?
No, I didn't
I'm
know.
not, I was just teasing. Well, you did say alleged perpetrator.
I don't know.
It's tricky, because I think to Rachel's point, like, you want it to be neutral language, but also like clear on
Clear,
like what,
yeah.
like, it is. Okay, so that, what else do you want to talk about, Jen? Because that we can work, that's not a, like, we can just figure that piece out.
I think we should use the same definitions from ACB, complainant and respondent. No, it's also in the same, especially that we refer back to
Complainant and
ACB.
respondent.
Yeah, it's fine, because you're actually gonna be going to this, as I think Ted pointed out earlier,
Yeah.
for other definitions.
Yep, so let's copy and
references
paste
you
those
there.
two over and delete this
Sounds
garbly
good.
up.
That's also
I'm
neutral.
deleting, you can.
So
very well look.
complainant and respondent are what we're gonna use.
Yeah.
Yep,
That
and pull the
makes
same
sense.
ones over.
Yeah.
Um,
and then put that like as defined in policy ACB, because I think that it's always important, what I've learned is like it's important to leave breadcrumbs so that in 10 years when somebody's looking at a policy, like they know
Know where it
like,
came
from.
oh, yeah, like I think it's just helpful, yeah, like so that it's just easier to,
Where'd you get the
when people fix
language?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
because we don't have like a master policy, which I could always look to see if other school districts do like a master definition list, which would be
They
helpful
don't.
in
They
life.
don't, not that I'm aware of, I haven't seen one.
The other thing I've always wanted to was, these are the policies your school committee should have. Here's the list, you know,
That kind of exists, but
no.
not,
So we need to make sure that we go through this
Explicitly.
document.
And change out all
move
this,
That's
yeah,
what
so you
it
can
needs to get
replace all
changed so that
those,
as
yeah.
alleged perpetrators becoming
the National
respondent.
School Board Association is the
And then
closest.
the victim
Yes.
survivor is gonna become complainant.
Yeah. So did we
That is
settle
good
on
change.
witness as someone whose awearness of dating violence compels them to intervene and or seek help on behalf of the victim? Because I don't think that's the right
We know,
definition.
we're gonna look and see what we do in ACB.
I'm not sure we did, we don't have one.
It's isn't it bystander?
I feel like we got rid of bystander.
We got rid of bystander at the last meeting, we talked about that,
Yeah.
yep.
But I feel like that definition of witness is not
Let's see if I can-
Correct.
correct, because you can be a witness and not intervene.
Yeah,
Or seek help. I
Or-
mean, a witness can
See something,
see something and be,
aware, but
Yeah.
not do anything.
or even participate in an investigation into
Right.
it.
A bystander is someone who observes an event without taking part in it. I think that's why it's not like, there's no action, it's
Right.
like you're not part of it, but you're there.
I would almost need to see a little bit more about how witness is used in context. You know, not to overly complicate, but like, you know, are they talking about that in reference to like an investigation into a complaint?
Well, the first place I see it used is under reporting responsibilities. The complainant of teen dating violence or sexual violence, witnesses/bystanders to such actions, or anyone whose information that these actions have occurred may file a report.
Okay, okay.
But the definition of witness right above says someone whose awareness of dating violence compels them to intervene and or seek help
Why
on
can't we
behalf
just say
of the
someone who's a-
victim, and I don't like
yeah, 'cause
that.
being a witness
That's
doesn't
not
compel you
actually
to
the
do
Yeah,
anything.
definition
so,
of
so, right,
witness.
so how about someone who
Who sees an event is what it says.
or who has awareness of dating violence,
Yep.
or alleged dating violence, something along those lines. If we just said it's someone who has an awareness of alleged dating violence.
Then would you not define it as witness at all?
So I'm just looking at this,
Look at the bullying.
Because then you, I think you have to be careful about awareness, because
Yeah.
how are they aware? Is that from like a text, or is that
Okay,
they
yeah, right,
actually
right, right.
witnessed
So-
it?
so-
You
so-
know,
so-
there's a
so-
difference.
If we say something like someone who's,
The definition of witness is a person who sees an event, typically a crime or an accident.
right,
that's why I like bystander better usually,
Yeah.
because like that definition has the judgment in it, right? Like it has the it's not just a situation, it's saying it's a crime. Like I think witness is a stronger word than bystander. There might be a better word, but like if I was gonna pick between the two, I would go bystander.
are we saying, just to kind of understand this, so a witness is somebody who has some level of understanding of a potential dating violence situation, correct? Are we saying that?
I feel like somebody I think maybe could witness something and not necessarily be aware
Yeah.
that what they witnessed
Absolutely.
is. So like,
Mhm.
I don't think that you have to have the awareness to be a witness.
So can I, I'm pulling from the definition in the bullying policy, right? And this is responsibility of staff, so we'd have to reword it, but it basically says, who observe an act of bullying or who have reasonable grounds to believe that bullying is taking place must report the bullying to school authorities. So almost something like that, where you see it, you believe that it may be a violation of that, you're encouraged to report it.
But-
Now, I don't know if you even have to define it as a witness versus a bystander. If you see something and you have a reasonable,
Yeah.
because you could see two people and not think anything of it,
Right.
but something could be happening, you don't know. But if you see it, you have a reasonable belief that it qualifies as a violation of that policy, you have an obligation to report it.
But I think it's a
So that's
higher
two different
standard for
things.
staff
Yeah.
than for students.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's encouraged to. I mean, it actually says, the bullying, the state one says must report it as well. But, I mean, again, I think are encouraged to report it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, a big reason why we have this policy is because people weren't aware of what they were seeing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, like, that's where the witness thing comes in, is that they're witnessing a relationship that they're not really privy to, or they're not understanding of the kind of situation that's going on. So, I don't know, that's why I think like I think of it in terms of, when I think witness, I think investigation, right? So like, I find out something happened, and this person might have information about it, and so you interview them as a witness. That's just where my mind goes. But a witness as somebody who is definitively witnesses wrongdoing, right? Or at least believes so strongly and reports it, is like a different thing, right?
Well, I mean, they're now a reporter, but they're also still a witness.
They're still a witness, but I think of those as two different things, like me seeing something that I know is wrong and I'm reporting it, versus me being part of something I'm not quite aware of, and then I get questioned about it because
It
was
completely
part
goes
of
to
the
the
bigger-
knowledge part,
Right.
it goes
You
to
know?
the knowledge or your,
Right.
yeah, your reasonable knowledge, yep.
I
you know,
get it.
yeah.
When I was doing victim work, I was victim
Oh, you changed.
bystander and
Yeah.
perpetrator. That was the trio.
Yeah, I mean,
That's different
Unfortunately,
now.
there's so much
Bystander is
serious
just,
going
yeah.
you know, where like people find out that like
And then
seeing
it
the
like
innocent behavior
really like
comes-
breaks
Yeah,
it down.
they
like,
didn't
You know what I
realize
mean?
that, yeah.
Right.
The statutes,
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
like-
Okay, cool. National.
Interesting.
I've never seen
I've
that
never
before. Nope,
heard
me
of
neither.
that,
Me
but
neither.
like, if you go, then I went to, so if you go to home health,
Under policy?
yeah. No, just straight, health policies by category is where I am, and then there's like a bunch.
Policy, database, we'll try.
It's like the
State
national.
Oh, right here, state policy. Huh, I've never seen this before.
It helps because it like, it's this website that like has all the like laws under each of the different like
Yeah.
things.
Yep,
Did you know that?
Cool.
NASBE.
never heard of it.
I just Googled because I was looking
Never
for
heard that
other.
either.
I
What was it,
looking-
NASCB?
Yeah, National
NASB.
Association of School Boards of Education.
Oh,
But like, I Googled like looking to see what other Rhode Island districts.
Your device isn't set up yet. To get started, download the Google Home app on a phone or tablet.
Okay, we're talking to the TV.
That's a lot.
that was scary.
I
I have nothing on.
I think it's off.
think so too.
Great.
Well, that's even more alarming.
Yes, it's, that's even cause for more concern.
We're never doing executive session, yeah.
Mike's gonna wonder why all the cords are snipped. Like,
No, it's behind me.
I did not see Erin with a pair of scissors.
I'm stuck by the leg here.
So should we circle back to witness so we can keep going through it?
Yeah, I was looking at the stat, like I was trying to look at, because again, like going back to the like actual like law about the dating violence policy, I was looking at like kind of what were, like what they were saying like needed to be included, and like the whole thing is about like dating violence report and response, right? So it's and so that's like the piece of it that I was looking at. I was trying to see if they had language about like kind of going to that bullying point of who should be reporting, then they don't.
No,
Um,
no, they just say that we have to have,
Yeah.
define our process for it.
And then it talks about like the policy should include, but not be limited to, stating that dating violence will not be tolerated,
It's in there.
dating violence reporting procedures, guidelines to responding to a school incident of dating violence, and discipline procedures specific to the incidents. So like, I think what's important is like just keeping it as tight as possible. So like is what we're even talking about, I guess maybe it would fall into guidelines for dating violence reporting procedures would be where this would be applicable, right? The word witness, dating violence reporting procedures. So if we're talking about it like it's not just like we don't need to just define witness to define witness, like that we need to make sure that we're addressing in the guidelines for reporting, like, if you're not the person that, like, had the violence done against you, like, but you saw it, like, what do you do, is I think what they're trying to get us to say and define, in some sort of documented way. And so, even in that section where we're even using that word witness, are we doing that? So, it says, the complainant of teen dating violence or sexual violence, and then witness bystanders to such actions, or anyone that has information have occurred may file a report.
Because before that it says, so the principal will establish and prominently publicize how to report teen dating violence and how such reports will be acted on. And then it's saying, if you had it happen to you, or you saw it happen to somebody, you can file that report.
And then that report we'd have on the website with our other reports.
But that was my
So-
question, like, if we're referencing.
Hey Matt, sorry, we're wrapping a meeting.
If you are referencing that form in this policy, does the form have to be attached to the policy?
Yeah, you want to tell them?
My question was for Andrew.
Does the form have to be in the policy? I don't think the form has to be in the, because we have other policies with forms, I don't think the form has to
Do you
be
have another
part
meeting?
of the,
We have building committee.
within the policy.
What policy do we have?
I'm thinking like, so bullying, we reference forms.
But it's in the policy.
I'm
And
fixing
then,
spacing, hope no one cares. It's bothering me. There's a
Oh,
little spacing error, so I'm just
Yeah,
fixing, I'm not changing
That's
it.
in the policy.
Not changing
it,
where.
I do that sometimes, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just making everything
Would that
capital,
be-
don't worry.
And
then-
making, you know, make sure the
The
comments are in the right
APRA, it's in the
spot.
policy, like, that's why I'm wondering,
That cleaned it up quite a bit.
Sorry, what were y'all talking about?
Andrew,
Yep.
if we reference a form in a policy, does it have to be in the policy?
Does it have to be attached to the policy?
Like, does it have to be part of the policy?
It doesn't have to be. I
I was
mean,
gonna
as long
say,
as it's
like,
easily
AC
accessible somewhere else. I mean,
Yeah, I
it
was
would be
gonna say,
helpful if it's right there, but it doesn't have
ACD
to be.
doesn't have the forms, right, because we have, those are all the forms that we just did.
Because all of our other ones have them in the policy.
I mean, it's helpful, obviously, if you're scanning through the policy and it says reference this, unless it's very easy to find that form, unless you have like a form subfolder, I'd suggest you
Okay.
either
And that might
attach
be
it
something.
or have it linked to it.
That might be something that we want to go back and do once, because they didn't exist when that policy came into place.
ACB?
So, yeah, so like same with this, like if we created ones, like,
Even just like forms linked here or something like that,
Yeah.
but you should be able to access the form right
We
from the
just put the
policy.
Yeah.
whatever it
policy
is.
at the end of
My
it.
only concern
Put the form at
about
the end of the
forms being
policy.
part policies is that the form could change quicker than
No, I
the
would
policy
link.
would,
I
so
would
the
link.
link is
Yeah.
better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I know already my mental health folks are, wanted something different around the DCYF form.
Yep.
You don't have to go through a policy meeting
Yeah,
just
but you can just
to
change the form and
add.
then relink it, yeah, change
Yeah.
the link.
Yeah,
So right now, just having the
For
forms
additional
be
piece of
made available
information that they
to
want.
district administrators.
makes no sense.
Because I was thinking that way, they're not all in there, because we were getting rid of all of the regulations, and some of the forms we are keeping, and then that's why I said the forms would be provided to them, and then we would keep the, I don't have it in front of me, but the reporting form we would keep. I was thinking that we had something that we could already use based on the forms that we were working on with Barton Gilman, but it's a different form, so we need to keep that
Okay.
reporting form.
Under disciplinary sanctions, so it says refer to the district's chart. I think according to the policy, though, it does mention something about
So that is what is this?
discipline procedure specific to the incidents. So I feel like that is supposed to be in the policy itself. The policy
There's a lot
shall
of
include but not be
perpetrators
limited
in
to
this.
blah, blah,
District's chart
blah.
of recommended, yes, so that we would be pulling out of the JVR,
But
right?
we're,
And that's the district, that's the
Which-
chart
which-
of
Is that
disciplinary
what we called it
actions.
before?
so that should
That's
be in the
the-
policy.
So that would
okay.
be attached to this.
Okay.
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, all right, so that will be attached.
Response.
So it says refer to the district's chart, but it like won't be referring to it because it'll be part of the policy, correct?
It will be, but I put that in there like, because in here you're referring to it, right? So it will be part of here, but I'm just, but the
Like
word
maybe
refer
like-
is there saying you need to refer to the district's chart a recommended disciplinary
Maybe like
actions.
refer to like Exhibit A or something like that, right? Because it's going to be part of the
Mhm.
policy.
Could do that.
Do you want me to replace alleged perpetrator with respondents?
I think I already did that.
There's a bunch of
No,
them.
like she's talking about in each spot.
Oh, in the forms or in the,
No, it's in the policy in a bunch of places, like under number 3.
I must have missed them. I thought I
Yeah,
did a search
you
and got
must have
them
missed
all.
some. They were kind of like at the ends of the sentences almost.
Under rights and protections, it says the district is committed to creating a campus environment that promotes timely and fair adjudication of teen dating violence and sexual violence cases. Principals shall establish guidelines to protect the rights and privacy of the complainant, and I'm using the old language, as well as the due process rights of the alleged perpetrator. I'm wondering if we should put something in there about promoting a campus free of violence and harassment, not just about timely and fair adjudication.
Sorry, you were
Weird.
talking very fast.
I got adjudication.
Yeah, I was close. I like had it almost.
Well, it's talking about complainant rights and protection, but it's
Can
only.
you point to where you are in
It
the
is
document?
page 5, Roman numeral 5, complainant rights and protection, or victim rights and protection.
I don't see a Roman numeral 5 on page 5. Are you on a different?
Is it not
It's on page
changing?
3.
Oh.
The page number is page 3.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you.
Got it.
So what was it, Jen, that you were looking for there?
Well, the paragraph is just talking about the district is committed to creating a campus environment that promotes timely and fair adjudication of teen dating violence. It doesn't say anything about creating
Yeah.
a campus.
So something like creates a campus environment that raises awareness of, or something?
Yeah, but
along
it's
those-
under the section, Jen, of complainant rights and protections. It's on page,
Page 3,
Three.
Roman numeral 5, right at the top of the page.
kind of in the middle.
Topmost.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, rights and
Yeah.
protections around a
Yep.
due process and everything, but I
But like,
think.
but that, so I agree with you, but it's not in this spot.
Okay.
Because to me, in this spot, like, it's, the thing has happened.
The thing has
Right,
happened,
and
yeah.
so we have a complainant at this point, so like that's nice, but
Okay.
it's not there. If you wanted to put
I
that
think
up in the philosophy or something, that would probably be
Okay.
appropriate. Like, I agree with the idea, I just think
Yeah.
the spot isn't the right spot.
Okay.
Do we have a philosophy on this?
Yeah,
We
I just
do.
want to make sure we're not just saying, once it happens, we're going to take care of it expeditiously.
Yeah, I think it's just in that spot, that's literally what it's talking about, but like up at the top, let's make sure it says what you're hoping for.
I mean, we definitely say it will not be tolerated, but I don't,
Yeah, I think the language you used was nice, like I would add it there though.
okay.
Nice in the context of like.
Right, I get what you're
It
saying.
says here, to this end, the committee commits to
Both of
staff, commits the staff to the implementation of a comprehensive and
Based on the
preventative
content we're
approach
talking about, yeah.
that addresses the underlying reasons for this behavior and helps create a better school community that supports learning and teaching for adults. That kind of speaks to it a little bit.
Where was that, Rob?
That was in the philosophy.
Sentence. Maybe we take that last sentence and change it from, for this behavior, it helps you create a school community that, and then,
Yeah, because it's not just supporting learning and teaching, it's like promoting a culture that is, you know, free of violence and harassment. I think those are two different things.
Yep.
Which promotes a community or that can promotes?
To this end, the committee commits the staff to the implementation of approach.
I'm missing a
That's
word.
what it is.
Yeah.
It helps to create a better school community.
Which promotes.
Which promotes or that promotes?
Yeah, we're a little redundant with the community too.
An environment free of violence and harassment instead of
Yeah.
community?
A campus free of violence and harassment, a district free of violence and harassment.
I would say district. Or school district? Like I would, campus seems like a spot, like it's more of a,
Just that one building.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's okay everywhere else, but not
Yeah.
there.
Is there anything else we want to add to that?
No,
I'm thinking
that's, yeah.
Do we want to take out supports learning and teaching?
No, I
Maybe
think
we
that's
just
fine,
put
but I
that-
think that's not quite enough. Like, it's not just enough to support
not.
learning and teaching. We want it to be,
And that makes it long and weird now.
That addresses the underlying reasons for behavior and helps to create a school, should it be school culture?
It's not just school though, like it's,
district.
District
What's
culture?
the district?
The culture is a nice term.
I love culture.
Yes. I do
What's
too. It's
creative
actually
school?
sounds
big.
good. Yep.
Like, I'm thinking of district culture. Well,
nothing, we weren't laughing at your
Yeah, you are. Hey, I call you.
Helps to create a school.
Culture beats policy. What is it, the old
District,
saying?
I would just say district
Culture
culture.
beats policy for breakfast.
I would just say
Okay.
district culture, helps to create a district's culture which promotes a community free of violence and harassment, which supports learning and teaching for students and adults. But the sentence is bad, but like,
Yeah.
that's a better version of that very long sentence. We can like tighten that up, probably. Here. Oh, thanks.
There's also, we need to change this to have inclusive language because there's a lot of his or her in here,
Yeah, that's, I mean, we see that.
and him and her, which I can go through and change before we put it through. I have two last questions, and I'm gonna save the most complicated one for last, but there was a thing in the policy about, each school district shall collect data regarding instances of student misconduct that are considered dating violence as part of the usual course of discipline data submissions to the Department of Education. Each school district shall specify when a particular infraction is also considered dating violence. That's part of the statute. Should we have something in this policy that says that?
Yeah.
Where does it say that?
Where?
In the
the statute.
statute. And I guess my next question is, are we doing that?
Oh,
That's not
we
the
need to.
purview, that like,
So, just.
or no, we can have to do that later. We have to, so like that's not
Right.
even, like that's not, for the policy conversation, like that's not even a conversation, because like some of the other ones, we've been like, oh, is that like our practice, like it doesn't matter, it's by
Yeah.
statute, so like that is.
I would
guess
Here's
my
what
question
there
is-
I would suggest putting that line.
I guess my question is, we
Yeah.
need to add that to the
Yeah.
policy,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so where does that
I
get
would put it under
added?
section 2 where it says reporting responsibilities, right? So then we go and pull.
My grammar fix this.
And that is in the statute, that is under F in the statute,
162130, right?
162130 F. And then my last question was the part about the creation of the Violence Prevention Task Force. I know we had had conversations about this before. There's a note in here about it. It could be the District Safety Committee, and we had had some various thoughts on that. And
I
so-
looked into that.
Okay,
So every school I heard back from has routines and practices around this. They don't have, but no school has like a standalone group dedicated to this. But I think we said that it could be the school improvement team. Or I think that was,
Okay, so what does the statute say? I'm using that word.
This-
What does the law say? I don't
Statute,
know. Okay. It specifically talked about it, right?
I'm in the statute right now, let's see.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's It doesn't say, was it committee? No.
Task force.
Task
Task
force.
force, thank you. Yeah, so that's not in it, right?
It's
I'm not
not in the
seeing it, nope.
statute. So
Okay.
it was something that
Someone in NK thought of.
someone in K
Yep.
decided.
What page is it on, the actual thing?
It's at the bottom, second to last page.
When we were talking about this, and I feel like I think it was you, Rachel, that was just like that, like there's like committees beyond committees, like, like there's that levels. And then, so I definitely heard that part of it. I also heard the part about like the possibility of sit teams, but like I also get nervous when there's like specific people that are supposed to be on something that like broadens a group. Like the sit teams have very specific missions and goals and what they're supposed to be doing for each school. And when I was thinking about like what this needs, my personal opinion, and this might be this is just a suggestion, like it doesn't have to be the way that we would go, is that I do think having a group that, like a task force that looks at violence prevention for the district is a good idea. I don't know if you need it at each building level. Like I don't know if that's like the best way to approach it, just thinking about how much work and bandwidth and effort that takes, like that seems like a lot, but I do think that having experts, including parents, school staff, law enforcement, community members, domestic violence advocates, like convening a couple times a year to talk about, hey, what can we be doing in the district to support this policy and support like this education and understanding is not a bad idea. I think just for me at the building level, like that seems like a lot and a lot of repetition, and so I do think the concept is really good, especially because it's something that is really important, but I think I would kind of make it a little bit more broad, perhaps. But it would fall, I think that would fall on Ken administrative be, so that would
I'm
be
just
like,
wondering, could we
yeah.
just change instead of saying the principal of each school in North Kingstown, we just say that there would be a district.
District Violence Prevention Task Force.
Right.
I think that makes sense to me.
And
Yeah.
this task force may include, and it has who would be included in that.
That would be my recommendation, like, just because I do want to honor, like, what the people who wrote the policies in the past, like, I don't think it's a bad idea, so I don't want to just delete it because it's hard, like, lots of things are hard and take a lot of time, but I do think having it be more centralized might be more actually useful and productive, because right now, what I'm seeing is it doesn't exist at all, and so, like, that means it's too tight, in my opinion, whereas the other thing might be able to actually do some good work and make some impact in this area.
Safety task force.
Yeah, with this.
What do we call that?
I've never seen
Safety
anything.
task force,
Safety is that what it's called?
I think we call it the district safety,
It's
What
like
kind of-
district operations.
yeah, district safety
But
operations.
But after, like, we had talked about it, because that was like my idea, like, we have this committee, could it be that? But then we talked more about what it is, and I don't think it would be that committee just after having a few meetings.
Which one, the sit?
No.
Oh, the safety
District
one.
Safety
Yeah,
operations,
no.
like, that was my thought.
Yeah.
But now after having a few
Yeah.
meetings and like kind of our conversations and really what that role is, I would not.
There could be some collaboration between those two
It
groups,
could be,
right? But
I
like
think
it's not.
This would be more.
I think it's
kind of
important enough
some
that
of
it.
our mental health
It
staff.
should exist, yeah.
So, I mean, I meet with the
our
mental health
student-
staff once
our
a
student
month and we
assistance
discuss this
counselor.
stuff.
So I think I look at this as being different from that, and I know I was one that threw that out there back in.
And plus, aren't police sit on that task force too, don't they? So they actually have a very different
The safety one?
perspective. Yes, the district operations
yes.
safety, yeah.
Mhm.
So they have often a different perspective on some of this stuff.
Mhm.
Well, they just got a
That's
grant
something if you-
to partner with the domestic violence advocate group, so this would be a great time for us to like revitalize this on our end and do a partnership.
Yep.
We also have the South County Coalition, Prevention Coalition.
Oh yeah, there's. I mean.
And one of our teachers is actually the coordinator on it.
This is just something I thought, we can't make a person who has been a victim actually report.
No.
I think I looked at that already, I just want to make sure.
Was it?
One thing I can say to this, just from my experience as a
I had
building
that.
principal, is that we were always expected to have building-based crisis teams. And the crisis teams served a multitude of purposes depending on like what the, depending on, different things that happen throughout the year. Like it would be a building-based team, we talk about safety and crisis response and practicing drills and things like that, but it would also be mental health, bullying, like violence prevention, awareness, all those things. I know that we have building-based teams now that do that. And I know that for me, it was always a good practice to have a wide variety of representation on those teams. So you had your mental health experts combined with your regular classroom teachers, combined with special education, combined with if it was a school resource officer in the building, that would be, you know what I mean? So I know that my expectation for the principals is that, and Kenny's, is that this exists at every building. Is there a way that we could like sort of pull that?
Yeah. I think so, and obviously like what is in the policy and then like what you all implement at an administrative level like is different, right?
Yeah.
And so for this, like I think what I would see as like first step success, and if this is happening and I'm just not aware of it, that is very possible. But from my knowledge of the district, I have not seen a lot of programs to educate students and staff about specifically teen violence and sexual violence. I haven't seen evidence of that yet, right? And so for me, when I was thinking about it, like with all the other things that I know people have, like if a task force like this existed that had community members, domestic violence advocates, law enforcement, and whatever the group that's defined here is, like success to me would be like once a year they do something educational that would get distributed or presented or some sort of thing that students and families could go to about this topic, right? Like if we have nothing like that success, right, that one level, and of course you all can work with the building administrators and different things about how like some of that happens, but like when you have a task force, in my opinion, like it's a very specific task. Like in this one, it seemed like the concept was the very specific task is to educate around this topic. Like I would remove the language about policy, like unless you all think that there's need for additional policy at the building level, like that seemed wrong to me. But like, I don't know.
And like, I know they do like the Lindsay and Burke poster thing every year. Like, I know that is going on, but I think in my mind, as a parent, that's different than this. Like, this type of thing is something where like, and I'm just gonna use like the Substance Abuse Prevention Task Force as an example. Like they put on programs like in collaboration with the school where they have guest speakers, they have the things that they bring into the school. Like those are like specifically focused to like highlight
like
proactive things. Not that the I think the poster is a great way of raising awareness, but it's something that's become part of the curriculum. It's part of the, so to me that's part of the other parts of the policy which say that we have to have a curriculum that is a regular part of our educational program. This to me is something separate from that. That's just the way I look at it.
I think it also goes on too with the connection with our student assistance counselors as far as the preventative programs we're putting in place there too. It's more of the, what is it, the educational piece like you're saying, the programs we're putting in place, the, bringing guest speakers in to talk to them, holding maybe events after school and that type of work that a group could be doing.
Right.
And I don't see this as a huge task that we have to have people doing. I think it's just planning, and I think it's pulling in the right people. I think it's, bringing in some of our mental health support staff, bringing in our student assistance counselors, working with the community agencies that we have, and planning events throughout the year and making sure there's connections within our health curriculum.
I think we need to audit our policies and see how many of these type of task force we're supposed to have, because the same people get called into the same things, and I think it's a little.
I think that's where there could be overlap.
Not that we don't want to do it.
Committees we already have that just make sure that, hey, we got these different committees.
So for this,
here are some goals that we need to be working on. So.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is, I agree with that, Rachel. Like, I think there's,
It's too
but
much.
also for this specific one, which is what we're talking about, like, it doesn't seem like any of us are against the concept of a group working on it. Like, the how might need to be refined
as
or
a
whatever.
district, you don't need one in each school, but it's a district group.
Yeah, so I would
So-
start with, and we can always go
And I
back
would
and
agree,
revise
take out
policies.
Like, we have policy,
Yeah.
they don't need to be doing, I would say their focus is just on education and programming.
I would recommend just doing this then, for
And
now,
we'll
and
get
then we
more
can
people
always
involved.
refine, like, as
That's
you
more
all,
fun
as
to do, right?
administrators, work through
Figure
things,
things
and
out,
different
yeah.
things, you could always refine it, but I would start broad.
As evidenced by this,
Take that
nobody
part
wants
out.
to be part of policy making.
Just put, will be to,
Here, kind of editing
Develop
it, I'm gonna edit
programs.
it down here, because I have to cut out a bunch, and then I'll,
Yeah.
so you can see the difference, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that's beyond the scope. Yeah.
So are there any other questions or concerns that we didn't discuss with this policy that would keep us from moving it forward?
no, I just have the forms, I went back and forth with Andrew on some of the forms, and those will, that all will get attached to the policy.
Because if this
The
isn't
chart
approved, this will
forms.
go to the next,
Yes.
which will be in January, so
Mhm.
we have time to get all that stuff together.
And we talked about linking policies, right? Okay. So we can change the, not
Linking
linking the
Yeah.
forms, we can change
I'm
them.
nodding my head, but yeah, I got it.
Yeah, you know what I meant.
Rob, any questions,
No, I
concerns?
think it's good. Yeah.
Aaron?
No, I was just editing that one part for you.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion to pass this policy along to the school committee
With the changes that we've
with the
discussed.
changes that were discussed, yes.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, awesome. So I know we have a hard stop today and people are going to be at meetings for the rest of the night, so I'll call it here. For our next agenda, we will just keep the same agenda until we finish those.
Yep, but just the one that we.
I did a copy of that agenda. I don't know, maybe it got.
I could send, I'll send it, I just signed out, but I'll send it to you.
Yeah, sorry, I just never,
Today's.
yeah, for some reason.
It's on the Secretary of State's website too. That's
Oh,
where I
maybe,
find it
yeah, it's
sometimes.
not attached to.
Yeah, it's some. It's a couple
Yeah.
different places,
Yeah,
but
it's not a big deal, I just
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah, so
exactly.
the ones
I would try to
for
come in a little bit
next
prepared.
time
Yeah, yeah.
will be transgender student
Okay.
and hate speech.
Okay.
Those were the, oh, and those were the
Transgender and
two
hate.
that were left.
I just wanted to know which one, so I'm
Mhm.
prepared.
Gender.
Like I've already
Yeah,
gone
we
through
haven't
these
even-
and
we
forward
haven't
to you
talked
right
about the
now.
non-conforming
Perfect. Thanks, Andrew.
policy yet, so it's been on the agenda for.
Yeah, we have a red line version, and we haven't actually had a conversation
Okay.
about it. And then the hate speech, those were the two that are left on the agenda for us to
And then we gotta go
discuss.
back to GCB.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And
And then we have some that we approved at the school committee that are coming back for
Yeah.
further revisions.
the one
BCF,
the membership school committee membership one, right?
yeah, that's BCF, and then there was another one, the GCB, yeah, and then we have a whole list of other ones to go through that we haven't even touched, because we're still trying to actually get through all the ones that we've looked
Takes
at.
a while to do policy.
So
found one
today
that needs to be
is
fixed, too.
December 13th.
I found one that needs to be fixed, but it's not.
No,
much
we
to
have a meeting on
say.
January 1st. January
That's the
8th
list.
is our joint meeting with the town council. How does January 10th look for people?
I'll be in Italy, but you don't have to.
So it's pretty good for you.
Good for you.
Wait, what date?
I'll be getting on the plane right about that, about the time of
What
this
day?
meeting. You can-
January 10th?
What
Do you have a
are
school
Attend the school
committee?
committee.
I'm going
January
to,
might be
tomorrow.
tough. I know
Did
we
I
have to do
just
these
all
policies, but
my-
we're.
I plan to like to, well,
We won't.
I've been
Put them all in my
rescheduled
calendar?
with my family.
Awesome.
Oh,
No, because
You're
Ken
on
said
that
that
same
Wednesdays
trip
were
6
no
years
good
ago.
for him, so
And
we
then
deleted
Yeah, so it's
it.
not, yeah, so
It's
Wednesday, so
not
the
January
10th.
one. It's not the
Then
10th.
So you can't do
It's
it.
still, it's, I can't do
We
this.
can't do this before
so what Jewel
I still
said
have-
with that as well?
No, this is just.
You didn't update your
March.
calendar.
It's not me, it's from.
Yeah, I've got it on
Oh,
mine,
she
check it
didn't
off,
update
I've got it
her
on mine as
calendar.
Needs to
well.
come on.
I don't go by
You-
hers.
Which I thought was
There's nothing on the
remarkably
10th?
good.
Yeah.
And I
I don't know.
saw
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, I'm gonna leave everything.
They need
Yeah.
to, her
It'll be-
calendar updates need to be updated because we moved the
Yeah,
Wednesdays
okay.
Operatic tenor.
to another day.
Oh,
So I saw them. They were good.
I like your taste in music.
Would you
I'll
like to
probably
pick
be
a day in
eclectic, yes. I do a lot of
I like it, me too. That's good.
very eclectic.
We're picking a day. I would like to meet, I don't want to
Cowboy
push,
Junkies, they're coming
Yeah,
to Jane
no.
Pickens.
Cool.
like we can piggyback something
I can
or.
do the third, I got fourth.
They're playing with the symphony. I saw them a few years ago do that. That was awesome.
We could do the
Yeah,
8th
I'm like
before
big
the
into
joint
music.
meeting,
That's
but
awesome.
I'm sure
I
that's
love it.
probably
Yeah.
not a great day. I can do the 9th.
I can do the 4th.
January 4th?
Yeah.
I could do that.
I can do the 8th before the meeting, I can't do the 9th.
4th, 8th?
That was, the 8th you said was before another meeting you guys have?
Yeah, we have our joint
Yeah.
meeting with the town council.
Yeah, that's not good for me.
That's not certainly not like that.
What about the 4th?
Fourth works for me.
Yep, I think that works for me if you care with that. You guys are more important. That works.
I can do the 4th.
Okay. Ken, we're all waiting on you.
Ken has to check 45 calendars and.
I have mine all go 1-to-1, otherwise I
Oh.
wouldn't be able to manage it.
Yep.
The only ones that are annoying are the school
Disaster.
committee ones don't, because there's like groups of people, I can't just copy them, because then when I copy them onto my personal one, it tells all of you, and so I have to like, so then I forget sometimes, it's very fun.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do this, this is not, doesn't have to be on camera, right, the
We just-
calendar.
Yeah, we can go back to it.
Search.
I need to look at one thing. I'm just trying to find the exact message. Trying to find my US track schedule.
Can I show you how to search that? I'm gonna do a tech lesson.
You would have ripped that
I'm
from another
always searching.
Dr. Earl's Google search.
Google tutorial.
I am good.
Yes.
I can do January 4th.
Okay, what time on the 4th? 5 o'clock?
Sure.
Works.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
perfect. So 1-4 at 5 PM. Thank you all. I'm gonna go set it up.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, we
Right?
have motion to adjourn.
Policy.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Policies.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're doing hate speech and transgender, I'm adding that to the thing.